Next speaker is Reijo Käki. He will tell us about the situation of Finnish farmers in respect to diverse seeds and crops, and we are very interested to listen. Thank you. Yes. There is a main reason why we need a better regulation. I try to tell you something about the Finnish situation. You can see that we are quite north country and we have special needs. As a northmost field cropping country, we need varieties adapted to local conditions. I think you have the same thing in every country. So in Finland we have some advantages and disadvantages. We have less disease and pest. We have long summer days, clean soil, water, air. So we have possibilities. But on the other hand, we have short growing season, less suitable varieties to grow, long distance and small population if we go to markets, small local markets, so we have to sell other countries, but transportation costs are very high. So we are niche market for big breeders. We have one breeder in Finland, but it has very limited resources. And for organic seed market, you can say it's niche of niche. And if you go to the land races, old varieties, yeah, you can go more. Niche. But I hope it will be not in that way in the future. We have many varieties in the list, but most of them, they are very closely genetic heritage. There is no real diversity, and there is no varieties for low input farming, like organic. And if the variety is in catalog, it doesn't mean that you can buy it. I have an example. I guess it was about 10 years ago when we get this new rule for ruminants that 100% of organic feed. In that time, there was, I think, was it 5 or 10 years transition period for that. But when it ended, I called to the seed companies and asked how they have reacted for new demand. Do you have now lots of seeds for peas and beans? Nothing. They asked, what demand? What? So practically there was no seed or only very limited amount of legume seed for sale. So it took few years that all legume seeds came from grey markets from other farmers. Like FOPA beans, there was no. So you went to the other farmer, do you have seeds any left for me? And that's how it came, and it's only a few years later they came to certificate seeds in seed companies that you can buy. The markets don't work. I think rules for conversion varieties don't solve the problem. of diversity. I think regulations are too strict. The variety must be Finnish origin. And we have only few varieties on catalog, and I don't think so that we can find here in Finland quite a lot of more of them. I have old variety from Gotland, spring spelt. I don't tell how I get it. And I think it was last year the milling company, they find out that there's lots of needs of spelt and there's nothing, and they knew that there's some farmers who has spring spelt. Maybe they can buy it, if the crop, and they tried to make the cultivation contract, but they didn't find enough people, and a lot of farmers wanted to, do you have, can I buy it, then maybe I can get the contract. But there was no certificate seed available, so we wasted this potential sales. And I think we have to lose the rules, like we heard that maybe Nordic, I think also the Baltic, maybe we can think about Russia. All Soviets. I know in Baltic countries they have lots of seed, and like my father's farm, it's now in Russia side. So also in Finland we used to farm near the border, other side of the border, and there might be some possibilities. So we have to look a little bit wider. This country as a reason is not very good. Last spring we wanted to buy Öland wheat. Unfortunately, they have some problem with a disease that we couldn't get, and like we see that they didn't even have a permission to sell it to Finland. But anyway, it's very important that we have access to other countries' land races and old races, old varieties. In Finland, there is only new conventional varieties what they are testing. There is no organic varieties. There is some field test on conventional varieties in organic fields, and these tests they have had also some old varieties. But there is no variety test for low input farming, and there is a need for farm site and local testing because nobody else is doing that. So, how we get the legal access for those seeds what we like to try? We can only have access for certificate seeds. Magnus is here. He has made his own trials for spring belt. If he finds there, when he's doing like a little bit of breeding and find a good seeds for us, but how we get these seeds? He can't give us or sell us. So what's the point to make testing if there's no way to get it in the markets? So, how I think it is in Finland, it seems to me that seed companies, they decide what kind of varieties are available for us. We don't have access to the varieties what we need. There is need for varieties for suitable for organic farming, low input farming, farmers, gardeners and conversion networks are legally prohibited to sell and exchange seeds. So market rules hinder development of genetic diversity in crops. So, what is the future? Like in Finland we have production cost, that's the weakness. It's a little bit higher than other countries. So we have to focus quality instead quantity. I think strength is in organic production. It's growing, and I can see a lot of potential in biodiversity products. Thank you.